Hey, Vanny Lopes here from Off the Block, and welcome to the first Off the Block video podcast where you control the content. That's right. We asked you on social media to tweet Off the Block questions or to use the hashtag AskOTB, and we're going to now answer those questions that you sent in. So here we go. Let's get right to it. The first tweet we have coming in is from Nick, and Nick asks, do you think that Loyola will be the unanimous number one in the NCAA rankings at any point this season? Nick, great question. Answer, though, probably not. Historically, you look at the ABCA coaches poll, it's very rare that you have a team that gets the unanimous amount of votes. For whatever reason, there's some coaches who love to be contrarian, love to be the rebel voter, but it's really rare to see a team get unanimous votes. We've even seen before at the end of the season, when a national champion has been crowned, the final coaches poll will come out, and that national champion still won't be the unanimous number one. Happened most recently in 2013 when Ball State coach Joel Walton didn't put UC Irvine number one. So, could Loyola get the unanimous amount of votes needed? Yes, they could. They're only one away. David Niffen, only person not voting for the Ramblers. But bigger thing for Loyola is just to keep winning, keeping taking care of business, and they do that more importantly than being the unanimous number one. They'll have the number one seed for the NCAA tournament. All right, next question. Moving on. Great question coming from Marauder Volleyball asking, who will be the next team to join the EIVA, and better yet, who will be the next NCAA D1 team to start a men's volleyball program? Great question. So yeah, the EIVA had made some interesting news on Twitter earlier this week when they used the hashtag new member big, and then they tweeted out big news coming this week. Money, most likely, if you're going to place a bet, I don't know what the Lions on Vegas is on this. Joking, don't bet on that. But if you are kind of guessing what team will join the EIVA, I would look for it to be Charleston. This is a team that's been pretty open that they want to join the conference. It's even included on their Twitter page right now for the men's volleyball team's official Twitter account that they want to join the EIVA next year. So I would expect for Charleston to be that team. It makes geographical sense because you already have a team in the Virginias in George Mason, and now you have a West Virginia team in Charleston. But that's going to be kind of interesting to see where West Virginia goes, because West Virginia is becoming the new hotbed in college volleyball right now with a lot of teams popping up. So look for Charleston. That would be the team that I would guess is going to be the newest member of the EIVA. They need one to get to 8 after Rutgers left them last year. Now I get that second part of the question. Do I see another D1 team adding in the near future? No, I don't. But I see a lot of Division II teams continuing to add the program, continuing to grow that way. Right now with Division I, with all the influx going on about the cost of living scholarships, I think it's going to be really difficult. I don't see many colleges adding college men's volleyball because of that cost of living scholarship situation until that gets sorted out and we kind of figure out what this new landscape of college athletics is looking like. All right, next question. Carl asks us, who are the top 3 players in today's game and why? All right, Carl, that is a fun question. Number 1, Micah Christensen. Why? Well, he kind of showed what he was able to do on the world stage this past year, looking great in World League, helping lead the United States to their first gold medal since 2008, and then the World Championships playing really well. I think he's done a great job saying you can see not only his tangibles grow, but the intangibles with his leadership grow this year. So I think that he's a superstar player. I think that he's a player who's going to be staying for the U.S. in the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Olympics. I would look for him. Right now, I have him at number 1. Then number 2 for me, I'm going with Aaron Russell of Penn State. He has played absolutely fantastic this season. Hey, look, the Nittany Lions aren't 4-7 because of the play of Aaron Russell. He has played absolutely lights out, putting kills away, taking advantage of his opportunities. And you figure he's doing this with about 3 blockers in front of him every single time he's going up for a swing. So he's having a challenge this year, hitting around blockers, but he's still able to do it, putting up big numbers, getting a lot of good aces. So I have him at number 2. And then for number 3, the person who I would pick would be Thomas Jeske, kind of the most underrated superstar player that we're seeing right now in the game from Loyola. He's just the all-around solid player, kind of that mentality of that Loyola team. Just all-around solid players, taking care of business, getting the job done. And I think that'll be really interesting to see towards the end of the season who could potentially emerge from that MIVA Player of the Year race, if it's going to be Jeske or maybe one of his teammates such as Cody Caldwell. But right now, I would give Jeske a little bit of the edge over Caldwell, but still, some great players all around. All right, let's move on to the next question now. This is coming from Dave. Dave asks, what schools do you see having 4 or 5 years of great dominance, if any? Dave, great question. I think that we're going to see a couple of teams be dominant, and I'm two in particular that I'm really looking forward to. Number one is going to be in the West Coast, UCLA. Hey, look, this is a rough year for UCLA. They have so many young players. 16 of their 18 players on their roster this year are freshmen or sophomores, but you know what? You can see the youth. You can see everything is there. They just need time. And you have a great coach like John Spera on the sideline who is going to be able to mold this team and shape this team. So, when you got players like Hatch, Arnett, two solid outside attackers, I think that you can really build a program around. And then you just look at the list continuing to go down. Some of those players that he's been able to recruit is absolutely amazing, the job that John Spera has been able to do, recruiting all these players, getting them to buy into the system. So this year is going to be a little rough for UCLA. I think it's going to be a challenge for them getting the MPSF tournament, but I think that they will get in. But next year, look for them to make that step forward and then be in the NCAA championship picture. The other team who I think that is really is going to be in a great run is going to be Loyola once again. The thing that impresses me the most this season, when you look at the players that are contributing, it's beyond the players who did a great job last season. You have freshmen stepping up. When you have Jeff Jendradic and then you have Ben Palestine, both of these guys are playing great as freshmen. They're doing a good job. Coach Davis is continuing to reload, and I really think that Loyola is on the verge of something special, which is challenging to do in the MIVA, because this is a conference that's probably the deepest it's ever been in its almost 50-year history as a conference. There are just some great volleyball teams coming out of that conference. But Loyola, once again, I think that they're just continuing to get this thing rolling. All right, and then final question we had saying, why don't we hear or see collegiate men's sand volleyball? And that's coming from Eric. Eric, good question. Why don't we see or hear it? Well, because there really isn't any besides club. And there's a lot of women's teams that are adding sand volleyballs. Sand volleyball is going to be an NCAA sport, or have a national championship starting in 2016. That's exciting for them, but look, it's just not going to happen on the men's side anytime soon, especially at the D1 level. When you talk about what's going on right now with the cost of living scholarships, schools aren't looking to add men's sports right now. They're looking at if anything, they're looking at possibly cutting men's sports because of the cost of living scholarships. So I don't think that we're going to see anytime soon where we have an NCAA men's sand championship. But one thing that we could start seeing is maybe some more club teams emerge at the sand level. But once again, it's really not on anyone's radar. One of the big reasons why women's volleyball was able to really gain a lot of momentum in the sand was because you had people like USA Volleyball, the AVCA, really encouraging, really pushing that. Those organizations would love to see men's volleyball, but it's not necessarily a high priority for them right now, especially the USA Volleyball. If you remember last year when they came out with their State of Beach Volleyball report, one of the suggestions was for how they're going to replenish and continue the pipeline going for getting sand volleyball players was to recruit former college basketball players and teach them how to play sand after college. So that kind of gives you a little insight to where they're viewing the potential of college men's sand volleyball right now. Once again, could happen in the future. I would love it to happen. I think that it would be great, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. And it's largely because of everything going on right now, ranging from cost of living scholarships to Title IX, all those factors in. But volleyball community would love it. USA Volleyball would love it. The AVCA would love it, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. Well, that's going to do it for this first edition of the Off the Block Volleyball video podcast. I want to thank everyone for sending in their questions, and we'll continue to do this throughout the season. So keep tweeting us your questions at OffTheBlock11 or using the hashtag AskOTB, or you can even Snapchat us a question. That's right, Off the Block is now on Snapchat, OffTheBlock11. So you can do it either of these three ways, and we'll answer them when they come in. So once again, thanks for your time, and continue to get all your men's volleyball news and analysis at OffTheBlockblog.com.